Right, first, it's estimated that hundreds of young girls have gone missing from school after being abducted and forced into marriage. Today, education authorities will reveal to the government just how many that is.
In 2006, the government launched a new campaign against forced marriage. It aimed to educate people on the difference between arranged and forced marriages and to help the victims. There are 300 reported cases of forced marriage a year. However, evidence suggests the figures are much higher. Shockingly, 30% are minors, some as young as 11.
It's absolutely shocking. Joining me now is Sameem Ali, who has first-hand experience of the horror of forced marriage. And we should say, obviously, we're not talking about arranged marriages here. We're talking about forced marriages where young girls, some as young as like 12, 13, are actually forced, taken away from school. In your case, it was to Pakistan, wasn't it?
It was Pakistan, yeah. I was only 13 years old when it happened to me. I was taken abroad to Pakistan, and I was taken to a village in the middle of nowhere. I didn't know where I was, and I was forced to marry this person I didn't know. And
so it's a much older man. You don't know who he is. You thought you were going on holiday with your mum, didn't you?
I did. And after everything that I had suffered in my childhood, I had suffered physical and mental abuse, and I thought that whoopee, you know, I'm going on holiday with mother.
It was almost like, because you said you had a terrible time. You were in a care home where you were actually really happy.
I was.
You were there from you were a baby. To
Yes.
what age did they put you back with your mother?
Until I was about 6.5 years old.
And in the book you talk about it, and it's absolutely heartbreaking that you've gone from being this really sunny, really happy kid, thrown into the situation where you're back with your family, and it's a nightmare. You're treated like a slave, you're beaten on a regular basis, there's never enough to eat, the horror of it was absolutely horrendous. And then you're trying really hard to fit in, and you think your mum's taking you on holiday. Finally she's accepted you, finally there's going to be some sort of relationship here.
I was really excited when I went to Pakistan, actually. I was really, really excited. But 2 months later, I was forced into this marriage.
You're forced into marriage, an older man, as you said, you don't know. Yeah. You've got absolutely no experience of sex or anything like that. You're only a kid. You're 13, you don't know anything. You just know that this man's hurting you. Yeah. And then you get pregnant and you don't even know that because you're so young and naive and in the nicest possible way, you've got no idea. I
was told to get pregnant, and then they would take me back to Scotland where we lived, and I didn't know what pregnant was, so I just prayed that I got pregnant. I got pregnant, so I was told, and then I was taken back to Scotland, where I had a baby at the age of 14. I was only 14 when I was
14 years old, and you don't know, and you're on your own as well, because you described that as well, that you're in the hospital, and everybody in the hospital was actually good to you, weren't they? They were quite good to you, because you're only a kid, and you look so young. You're just a baby yourself, having a baby. But do you think that because you had your son, it sort of gave you the courage to get out of that really miserable existence? If it had just been you, you might have just stayed, perhaps.
I had accepted what was happening to me at that time. I had accepted everything. I thought, this is my life. But when it started happening to my son, the mental abuse, the physical abuse, I had to get out.
Because you're a mother, you've got to look out for your boy.
Thought, you know, I have to, you know, there is no way I'm going to let him go through the life that I went through. And so I plucked up the courage at the age of 17, and I left home. I ran away with my son, who was then 3.5 years old. I'll
tell you, I don't know where you get the courage to do that. That is amazing, absolutely amazing, very, very brave of you. And what was really good was by that time there was somebody, you fell in love.
I did.
Which is fantastic, really good, and both of you, you know, trying to build a life together. But you weren't left alone, because your family came after you, didn't they?
Yes, my family did come after me. They sent down some people to kidnap me, and fortunately the police caught them on the motorway. So, you know, talk about, you know, somebody looking over me, you know, somebody was looking over me that day, and they got caught on the motorway.
And these are the guys they had in the car. They had baseball bats, they had knives in the car.
They did. They had baseball bats. They had my address in the car. They had my name and everything.
So who knew what would have happened to you if you hadn't? Because they were on their way, and you managed to get out. You got warned, didn't you?
I got.
You've got good friends, and as you said, I think someone was looking out for you that day.
who knows what would have happened.
You don't, that's the thing, that's what's so scary.
And by the comment from my own brother who said, you know, you're going back to get your husband, whether it be in a body bag, before I left home, I think it would have been the worst case scenario if they had caught me.
It's extraordinary, isn't it? I honestly don't know how you've managed to put this all behind you in a way, because you have, you know, you do want to help other women who are in this situation, or other girls, should I say, that are in this situation, because it's going on now. And I mean, I must admit, having read your book, I'm really angry about it, that this is happening to young girls. It's not, it should not be happening. It's illegal. You're just a kid.
Yeah.
You know, it should not be happening. And the only way I think we'll change it in some ways is there has to be a change of attitude, obviously, because your mother was complicit in this, and mothers and sisters and aunts are complicit in this. You know, it's not just that it's not something that's just organised by the male members of society at all. It's everybody's doing it. Do you have hope that perhaps things will change, or what do you think needs to be done?
Awareness programmes. You know, we don't need to criminalise it yet. I think criminalising it is going to just shove it under the carpet. The government is going to give it a label, and that's all it's going to do after it is criminalised. We need to have more awareness programmes available. We need to let everybody know that there are organisations out there to help them, and then maybe 3 or 4 years down the line then criminalise it. But if people don't know about it, then how are you going to criminalise it just to give it a label? Sure.
No, I agree with you. I think you're absolutely right, and you know, because you've been there. You do.
I've been there, and if there was a criminal act in place, I wouldn't have run away from home. I just wouldn't have, because it would have cut off that road for me. Really.
Exactly. That's it. You're absolutely right. You really are. I know you work as a counsellor now. Yes. Your sons, beautiful sons, all grown up and doing incredibly well. I think it's amazing how you've managed to turn your life around. When you read, because you had a really good start. You know, you actually were very happy.
Those 6.5 years in the children's home made a huge difference. It set my foundations, and they were set for life, and it helped me cope through what was thrown at me later in life.
Well, if we want more detail about it, which I'm sure people will, the book is called Belonging. It's out now, isn't it? It's Belonging by Sameem Ali, and it is an absolutely fascinating read. I defy anybody not to start it and finish it, because that's what I had to do. But thank you so much. I couldn't put it down. Thank you very much indeed. Great to see you. Thank you. And if you do need help or advice regarding this, the telephone number for the Foreign and Commonwealth Office Forced Marriage Unit is 020 7008 0151. I know that's been up on the screen. Do try and get some help.